Hey guys, this is Hunter with You Don't Know Ball. Today we're going to be looking at Daniel Jeremiah's Mock Draft 2.0. For you guys who don't know, Daniel Jeremiah is a mock draft analyst or just an NFL media analyst with NFL Network. Him and Bucky Brooks have their mock drafts on NFL Network, and they have a podcast called Move the Sticks, which I listen to. It's a pretty good podcast. I'd recommend it. As always, if you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know your favorite pick from this mock draft, your least favorite pick from this mock draft in the comments, and let's get it right into it. Let's see if he has any reasoning for his picks here. With the start of the NFL scouting combine just around the corner, here's my second projection of the year for round one of the 2024 NFL draft. So he says we'll have risers and fallers coming out of Indy. Okay, so nothing, anything crazy. So at number one, we have the Chicago Bears taking Caleb Williams. This seems to probably be kind of the consensus going right now. I don't know if you guys follow Bears media at all. I know this is like kind of nitpicky, but at the same time, so fans saw that Justin Fields unfollowed the Chicago Bears last night on social media, and while I typically don't really think those things matter that much, it's not like Justin's in a contract year, and it's not like the rumors about him being traded haven't been going around, and the fact that they're probably going to draft a quarterback number one overall. I think, that's kind of telling that the process to get Justin to another NFL franchise is starting. At number two, we have the Washington Commanders selecting Drake May. I think this is the most likely scenario. I think there's a very, very small chance the Commanders do not go with a quarterback at number two, but more than likely they will be selecting Drake May or Jaden Daniels, even though on some draft boards and kind of talk along media is Daniels and McCarthy have actually been getting more hype than Drake May. Now, do I think they're better than Drake May? Probably not. I think Drake May is probably, if you're going to go quarterback at number two, Drake May to me is your guy. At number three, we have the New England Patriots taking Marvin Harrison Jr. This makes the most sense. I don't know, like I said in all my mock draft reactions, if taking Jaden Daniels, a fifth-year senior who really needed all the talent around him to excel, would be the best position for a rookie to go into a New England team with not very much talent in the wide receiver room. Their offensive line is kind of just okay, and their coaching staff really doesn't have, that much play calling experience, if any at all. So Marvin Harrison Jr. is the pick you take here, where it's like whenever you put a quarterback in that system, he's going to be there, and this could be your receiver for quite a long time. At number four, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking Malik Neighbors with Marvin Harrison Jr. off the board. I think this becomes the most likely pick for the Arizona Cardinals. He is a great wide receiver prospect, and you need to give Kyler Murray weapons. If Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't in this draft, he would be the number one prospect. I could also argue that he would have been the number one receiver off the board if he was in the 2023 draft. But going into number five, we have the Los Angeles Chargers taking Joe Alt. So I'm interested to see what he says here, because in my opinion, I think Joe Alt is the easy pick for the Chargers. I just think it's probably not a fan favorite amongst the Chargers fans, because obviously it's not as flashy as a skill player, but you get a very good tackle prospect to pair with Rashawn Slater. And he goes, this feels like a statement pick, seeing how it'll be Jim Harbaugh's first selection since becoming the Chargers head coach. Alt would take over at right tackle in short order. Keep in mind that new GM Jim Hortitz, I don't know, came from Baltimore, and where eventual Pro Football Hall of Fame Jonathan Ogden started at guard his rookie year before taking over at tackle. Makes sense. At number six, we have the New York Giants taking Jaden Daniels. So I will say this. If Jaden Daniels ends up making it to number six, that puts them in a very, very tough spot, because it's like Daniel Jones, in my opinion, isn't the guy. Your team might be a little bit better this year. The quarterback class next year is not good. So unless you're targeting really like a vet, I don't know where else you get the quarterback unless you trade. And Jaden Daniels kind of falls here to you at six. You take the chance on him. You maybe let him sit behind Daniel Jones for a year. I mean, he is 23 already. I don't think the pick is wrong by Daniel Jeremiah. For the Giants specifically, I'm already very confused on where the Giants plan on going in the next 1 to 2 to 3 years. So I think this would give them a little bit more runway, but at the same time, I don't know if this is the guy that take you where you need to be. At number 7, we have the Tennessee Titans taking Olu Fashanu, probably the best pass protector in the class. Has a higher ceiling, a lot, I think, over Joe Alt, but he is still young and he still has a lot to polish up. But overall, the Titans get a good offensive tackle prospect that you can pair up with Peter Skoronski. At number 8, so Benjamin Solak mocked J.J. McCarthy to the Falcons last week when I did a mock draft. He writes for The Ringer, and now we see Daniel Jeremiah doing it. So that was kind of the first time I saw J.J. McCarthy mocked to a team like the Falcons. But the more and more I thought about it, the more and more I liked it because, if you think about it, you have a stronger run game with Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, you have Drake London, you have Kyle Pitts. Like, he has the weapons around him, and you have a guy who's coming from the McVay system, someone who is quarterback friendly and like more about player development and all that kind of stuff. And I think Zach Robinson could make J.J. McCarthy a viable starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. And I think this is going to take a lot of coming around to. The Falcons need a quarterback. I don't know if you get him in free agency, but this is a pretty interesting pick, and I'm not completely opposed to it. At number 9, we have the Chicago Bears taking Rome Odunze. Give Caleb Williams a big body receiver to throw to. Pair him with DJ Moore. Pair him with Cole Kmet. This makes the most sense. If you're not going to go edge here, which I don't think you should, I think you should just go buy an edge in free agency. I think getting another pass catcher, whether it is Rome Odunze or Brock Bowers, is the way to go. At number 10, we have the New York Jets taking Talisa Fuaga with Olu Fashanu off the board already and Joe Alt off the board. I think this pick makes the most sense. You get a guy who's going to be dominant in the run game, and you get a guy who is a pretty good pass protector. You have to protect Aaron Rodgers, and anything that is not offensive tackle here makes zero sense unless you want to go trade back and get JPJ, but I think tackle is you drafted Joe Tippmann, and then you could move him around. You can move JPJ to guard spots, but I think tackle is really the more glaring need here. At number 11, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking Dallas Turner. So this is kind of so he goes, I wouldn't rule out the Vikings drafting a quarterback early, but I'm not sure they'll have the ammunition to trade up for one. With Danielle Hunter heading for free agency, they address the need for pass rush help. I agree with this, and I guess it all just depends on what you want in your defense. Whether you want a guy like Dallas Turner, who's an athletic freak, whether you want Jared Verse, who's this strong, powerful bull rusher, whether you want Laiatu Latu, who is this finesse guy with a lot of bend. I think I like this pick for the Minnesota Vikings, and gives Brian Flores another weapon to work with. At number 12, we have the Denver Broncos taking Jared Verse. Jared Verse is, in my opinion, probably the guy who will impress a lot at the combine, just because I think his combination of like speed and power is going to be very attractive to a lot of teams. And the Broncos need help with the pass rush. He's one of the best guys on the board, and you see 2 edges go in a row. And my thing is, I don't think there's any guys like Will Anderson in this class. But that doesn't mean these guys aren't good or first-round talents. I think it's really going to be like how you use these guys. So at number 13, we have the Las Vegas Raiders taking Terrion Arnold. We have the first cornerback off the board. I think this pick makes a lot of sense for the Las Vegas Raiders. You get a basically verified CB1, and when I say verified, I mean like terms of talent. Like, this guy definitely has the talent to be like a top cornerback, and he is very young. He was very, very athletic, and then kind of later in the season this year for Alabama, like really turned it on. And I think, being, a sophomore, he has a redshirt sophomore, but a sophomore nonetheless, he has been able to do it at such a younger age at a top level school like Alabama. Very, very impressive. And the Raiders do need secondary help. At number 14, we have the New Orleans Saints taking J.C. Latham. I love this pick, and I'll tell you why. Trevor Penning, risky to keep moving forward with. Not saying get rid of him, but in my opinion, you don't want a guy who is going to be really a projection. Like J.C. Latham, to me, like you kind of know what that is, right? And Ryan Ramczyk, getting older, he has that knee problem. You want a guy you know can hold down the line. J.C. Latham is a big tackle and can definitely help out in the pass game. He's good in the run game as well. So I think this gives some stability to that Saints offensive line. At number 15, we have the Indianapolis Colts taking Nate Wiggins. Wiggins is going to put on a show at the NFL Scouting Combine and might be drafted earlier than this slot. The Colts have proven they value traits, and this Clemson product is a big-time traits corner in this year's draft. So I think anything kind of defense in this pick makes sense. You even address the line if you want to beef up that line. You have Latu available. I don't know if 15 is really like the right landing spot for him, but I think it's more and more likely that the Colts are going to go corner here because you really need to put youth into that corner room, build some more depth, and with Nate Wiggins, that's exactly what you get. He's a long, lengthy corner, and I think he'll fit right in, especially with the pass rush that the Colts do have. It'll make it a little bit easier for that transition. At number 16, we have the Seattle Seahawks taking Byron Murphy. I'm interested to see what he says because I've kind of flopped back and forth between Byron Murphy, IDL1, Jerzon Newton, IDL1, and I'm kind of back on Jerzon Newton. I think he's a little bit more polished. He's a little bit undersized, but I think he provides a little bit more like impact right away with the draft pick. Leonard Williams is a pending free agent, but even if the Seahawks work out a deal with him, Murphy would be a nice complement on the interior defensive line. I agree. I think the Seahawks do need definitely the help on that pass rush with Mike McDonald as the new head coach. I think their secondary is really, really good, and I think, honestly, not having a great pass rush really hurt them. Like, in reality, in the NFL, if your wide receiver is running for 5-6 seconds, they're eventually going to break away from that corner, and that's really not anything to say about the secondary. It has a lot to do with, how long is your defensive line allowing the quarterback to sit in the pocket freely and, pick apart your defense. At number 17, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Quinyon Mitchell. I love this pick. I think Quinyon Mitchell is going to be really good in the league, and I think, the Jacksonville Jaguars really need like a dominant cornerback one. I know last year they took Anton Harrison in the draft in the first round. I really wanted to see them take Brian Branch. I think that would have been a really good pick for them. And at the end of the day, you got to build up that secondary, and Quinyon Mitchell can be a certified CB1 in this league. After what he did at Toledo, what he did at the Senior Bowl, I think he's going to impress at the Combine. This would be a great pick for the Jaguars. At number 18, we have the Cincinnati Bengals taking Brock Bowers. So I think this pick is probably the best fit pick in the draft. I think if Brock Bowers fell to the Bengals, the rest of the league should be ashamed of themselves. Like, in my opinion, if Brock Bowers makes it past let's say he makes it past the Raiders at 13. Okay, I don't think he's going to the Raiders. I have a hard time believing that a team that wants a prospect like Brock Bowers won't trade up. Now, obviously, if you don't got to do any draft capital, I'm not saying, because he said there's no trades in this draft, but what I'm saying is if Brock Bowers is falling and he falls to you at 18, giving Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Brock Bowers is going to be scary for other AFC teams that have to defend that. And especially because they're about to franchise tag T. Higgins probably. Another year of the Bengals like this I could see them possibly going for a Super Bowl run. At number 19, we have the Los Angeles Rams taking Jackson Powers-Johnson. I like this pick a lot. I think, you solidify that O-line, whether that is a guard spot, whether that is a center spot. And I've said this before, the Rams are in an interesting spot where they can compete these next 2 years, but at the same time, they need a player that's going to be there for the long haul, and JPJ is definitely one of those guys. He's going to be an impact day one starter for the Rams, but he also is going to be there for the long haul, and you have one of those three, interior line positions solidified for the next however many years. At number 20, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking Troy Fontenot. So I'm interested to see what Daniel Jeremiah has to say about this. He said Pittsburgh invests in the offensive line in round one for the second year in a row. Fontenot fits the physical identity the Steelers are looking to create. He can play anywhere on the line, but it would be fun to watch him line up next to 2023 first round pick Broderick Jones. So I wonder if they're saying he's going to play I think he's saying he would have him playing in the guard spot next to Broderick Jones, which mean it would be Isaac Seumalo and then another tackle, because Fontenot is a tackle, but he is projected to play like inside, and the Steelers do need a tackle, so I wonder if he means he's going to have him play guard or if they're going to play tackle. Either way, that's the plus of having Fontenot is his versatility. So I think this would be a good pick for the Steelers. Honestly, you need help with center, and you need help with one of your tackle spots. At number 21, we have the Miami Dolphins taking Latu. They need pass rush help. This is the first time I've seen Latu mocked to the Dolphins, but I think this is a really good pick. Latu would give the Dolphins three outstanding pass rushers with Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips already in place. Keep in mind, Miami could lose Andrew Van Ginkel in free agency. So when I say they need pass rush help, you saw what happened when these guys went down. Are these guys going to go down every year? No, they're not. But the idea that you have like such depth at such an important position in the NFL, and my thing is the way guys run their defensive lines now, there's so much rotation, and you can never have enough pass rushers. Teams that have the best trenches, offense and defense, are usually the teams that are winning the Super Bowl, that are going to the playoffs and being successful. Good pick for the Dolphins. At 22, we have the Eagles taking Ennis Rakestraw Jr. So this is the highest I've seen Ennis Rakestraw Jr. go. I don't think it's too high for him per se. It's just I've never seen him as like in front of like a Cooper DeJean, or even like I've seen him in front of Koy McKinstry a couple times, but I think, Ennis Rakestraw Jr. is a really good run defender. He's a tone setter. He's physical, and I think that kind of fits like the Philly team very well. And Philly needs a cornerback. They need youth in that room. They need first round talent. The percentage that you hit on a cornerback in the first round compared to other rounds is way higher. Like just look at the percentage from first round to second round, and you'll see like how drastic of a difference it is. At number 23, we have the Houston Texans taking Brian Thomas Jr. Really like this pick. Put him with Nico Collins, put him with Tank Dell, and you have a really good receiver core, maybe the best in the AFC South for sure, and one of the best, I would say, maybe in the AFC, in the league, maybe, if Brian Thomas Jr. turns out to be who he's supposed to be, especially with the depth, if they bring back, or if they have Robert Woods next year, they have Noah Brown, like, dude, the Texans are cooking. At number 24, we have the Dallas Cowboys taking Tyler Guyton. I like this pick. Tyron Smith is their left tackle. He's headed to free agency, and Tyler Smith is on the one side, and he turned out well. So you're taking kind of a project in Tyler Guyton, and I don't think it's a bad pick per se. He's massive. I believe he's 6'7". It's kind of risky. Now, I don't know. I mean, like, you could take Amarius Mims. He also has a very small sample size. I think it's like 800 snaps at Georgia. Tyler Guyton, I think, is just a little bit more... They're both raw, though. I don't know. I like the idea of tackle. I like the idea of lineman. And I think, honestly, like, if Troy Fontenot would have fell here, I think that would have been a better pick because he can move inside. He can play tackle. He can do whatever. Tyler Guyton, objectively, not a bad pick positionally. It's just there is a lot of risk, but we've seen the Cowboys be willing to take risks. At number 25, we have the Green Bay Packers taking Cooper DeJean. I like this pick a lot. He is a physical run defender, extremely athletic, and I think when people see him, I think people write him off sometimes because he is a white corner and they project him to safety. I think he can play safety. I think he can play corner, both the positions of need for the Packers. I just think when you see him at the combine, if he's there, a lot of people are going to be like, okay, this dude is like the real deal. If you watch him at Iowa, he's the real deal. At number 26, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Adonai Mitchell. So I think maybe, he is going to rise up draft boards a little bit after the combine. And as we get closer to the draft, the wide receiver class this year is extremely talented. And if they are going to lose Mike Evans, it's looking more and more likely that he won't be back on like a franchise tag. That'll be kind of like a 1 year or a multi-year deal. If he comes back, giving a big, fast receiver like Adonai Mitchell for Baker Mayfield, who I'm assuming is going to be the quarterback next year, putting him next to Chris Godwin, Cade Otton, Trey Palmer, I think it kind of I don't want to say re-solidifies because we don't know what Mitchell will be, but I think it gives it a better chance to succeed than pretty much anyone you're going to go out and get in free agency. At number 27, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking Darius Robinson. I like this pick a lot because he can play interior. He can play on the edge. You get some versatility for the Arizona Cardinals here on the defensive line. Because of how barren the Cardinals are for talent in the trenches, I think anything trenches works here. So Darius Robinson out of Mizzou makes a lot of sense. At number 28, we have the Buffalo Bills taking Chop Robinson. Explosive, quick first step, but he's a little bit raw. So let's see what he has to say. The production won't wow you, but the traits are there. The Bills could suffer some losses off the edge in free agency with contracts expiring for Leonard Floyd and AJ Epinenza. Robinson could be the new pass rushing partner for Greg Rousseau. I like that pick a lot. I think if Chop Robinson is going to go in the first, I think it has to be a team like the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs, the 49ers, a team that already, has good pass rushers, and he is not going to be relied on to be that guy right away. At number 29, we have the Detroit Lions taking Zach Frazier. So the Lions guards are scheduled to reach free agency this offseason, and this feels like Dan Campbell's type of player. Frazier, a state champion wrestler in high school, could step right in at guard and eventually move to center. So yeah, he played center at West Virginia, and he has been moving up draft boards kind of as interior O-lineman 2, kind of next to Graham Barton. JPJ is number 1 right now. And the Lions need help on that interior. They have a really good offensive line, but if they're not able to bring back those guards in free agency, I think you need to get some higher caliber backup guys or even guys that can be a starter day one, and that is what Zach Frazier can be for them. At number 30, we have the Baltimore Ravens taking Amarius Mims. I like this. Amarius Mims has a lot of talent, a lot of traits. He's just very raw. He has a lot of potential. And it says the Ravens have grown accustomed to seeing really talented players fall into their lap. Mims at 30 would qualify as another example of this. Here's my thing. He doesn't have to play right away. Mims doesn't have to play right away. He is someone that you could definitely draft, develop, and he can be a great player for you down the road. And with the Ravens being as good as they are, they can afford to do that with a player like Mims. At number 31, we have the San Francisco 49ers taking Graham Barton. Good pick. He played tackle at Duke, but he can play any of the interior. He's projected to play the interior positions. But if you want to replace McKivitz on the right side, then you can play him at tackle too. You get a lot of versatility, and the 49ers need help on the offensive line. So I think this is a very good pick, especially with Frazier and JPJ gone. At number 32, the Kansas City Chiefs take Troy Franklin. I love this pick. Troy Franklin. Ooh, sorry. There was a little bit of a lisp there. Troy Franklin, Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco. You go get Mike Evans in free agency. Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl again next year. So this has been Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft 2.0. I did not do 1.0. I started doing the reactions after he already dropped them. So I did Bucky Brooks as the first one. But this was a interesting mock draft. It wasn't like anything crazy. Everything felt like it was in a very real realm of possibility that could happen. And in my opinion, yes, there are so many mock drafts that come out, right? There's so many. There's like 3, 4, 5 new ones every day. Daniel Jeremiah, Dane Brugler, Bucky Brooks, those are the guys that I really trust the most because they are just, in my opinion, the most reliable. They're the most tapped in. Even college guys like a Joe Klatt, I don't know if I think he has a good read on the players. I don't know if he necessarily has the best read on like where they're going to go, but in terms of like what player would be good for what team, I think he has a good idea of that. But Dan Jeremiah, Bucky Brooks, and Dane Brugler, those are my go-to like draft guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, let me know your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft. Leave a like. We're bringing you guys daily content. We are growing like crazy. For real, we are growing like crazy. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you for watching. Have a great rest of your day.